In this video, I'm going to show you 7 different 2-player Wargaming starter sets for under $100 that I own, and that you might like to own as well. Miniature wargames are generally kind of a 2-player affair, although there are, these days plenty of games out there with a solo play mode as well. I can make a new video about those solo play experiences if you're interested. Just let me know down in the comments below. A great way to get into a, let's say, non-solo miniature wargame is to pick up a 2-player starter box if the game company offers one. A good 2-player starter box should include models for each side, rules, required tokens and such if needed, maybe even dice, and if possible, maybe even some terrain. And if possible, a good 2-player starter box should be under $100 as well. This price point and also the all-in-one kind of nature of the 2-player starter will help you to more easily be a gaming advocate and teach new players how to play a game, specifically the one in the 2-player starter. If you're tired of the game that everyone in your area is playing and you'd like to see if maybe some people might be interested in trying something different as well, then a good 2-player starter at $100 or less is a great place to start. Now, I can't talk about all the 2-player starters that are out there on the market. That would probably be a very long video, I suspect. However, I have 7 starters here that I own that I'll be talking about today. So if I miss one that you think should be mentioned, here in the video, feel free to leave it in the comments down below. But I wouldn't leave a link in your comments. Sometimes YouTube will block links that are in comments. So just put the name and maybe the company and why you like it. And if you watch this video and none of the starters that I'm about to show you are what you want, scan through the comments. I'm going to start with a mech game, and probably one of my favorites, Steel Rift. Now, the crazy thing is that Steel Rift, for as long as I've known of it, has always had a 2-player starter box for about $80, which is under $100. It included 3 mechs per side, which were completely modular. You had to put them together and all that kind of stuff, and it allowed you to build them however you wanted. It also came with some extra stuff like decals and a starter sheet, that explained things, and then the full core rulebook, which admittedly is only, like 36 pages, which is a big part of why I like the game. But that was everything. It wasn't a ton of stuff, but again, they're kind of a small company, and the economy of scale, you get what you get, and it's $80. That's kind of the way it works when you're a smaller company. Now they have a new 2-player starter box, which I first saw at the Nova Open a few weeks back. It includes, again, 3 mechs per side, but these aren't modular. They're already pre-built. You kind of just get some weapon insert options that you can put in there if you want to, but otherwise they're pretty much pre-built. They come with the bases and the decals and all that kind of stuff, but they also come with quick start rules instead of the full rule book and pre-made mech lists, so you don't have to try to figure out how to design a mech for each of your mechs. You can just start. You don't have to worry about analysis paralysis. They're like, here you go. This is where you start. There's even 2D terrain included as well, so you can really start playing right away. And it's not $80, it's $45. Next, we have Halo Flashpoint Recon Edition from Mantic Games. This game includes 4 Spartans per side, so 8 Spartans total, and they're already assembled, and they come in red plastic, 4 of them in red plastic, 4 of them in blue plastic, so you can, again, start playing right away. I'm actually in the process of painting my Spartans right now and using kind of more realistic military colors. I haven't started detailing them all yet, but I will very soon. The Recon Edition here comes with all the stuff that you need, and I mean all. Rulebook, dice, cards, playmat, and even cardboard terrain, all for $75. One downside, you can't order direct from Mantic at this point because, frankly, they're all sold out of all of their Halo stuff. They might do a second printing or something like that, I suppose, but they're all out right now. However, that doesn't mean that the game stores are out, right? Or game distributors either. If your local store doesn't have it in stock, then they will probably be able to order it from their distributors. Many stores usually have multiple distributors that they order from, right? Or if they can't, I also saw plenty of online retailers selling it as well. You should be able to find it if you're interested, like I am. The Halo Flashpoint rule set is based off of Mantic's skirmish sci-fi rule set called Dead Zone, which they've been producing for a number of years now. To me, the most interesting thing about Dead Zone is the movement and the measurement. You play on a game mat with a large grid on it, right? And you don't ever measure movement or range with a tape measure or ruler, you just count grid squares, right? Now, what's interesting is that where your figures are placed in each grid square is actually quite important. You still shoot model to model and not grid to grid, so cover and scatter terrain and all that kind of stuff are still actually quite important. Next is something that I've been told by the audience to check out repeatedly over the years, and I finally pulled the trigger and bought a copy to look at it, honestly, for this video. It's the BattleTech Alpha Strike starter box. Now, it's not called a two-player starter specifically, doesn't say that on the box, but it's easily good for at least 2 players, if not more, so I'll say that it counts for this video. It includes 13 pre-assembled plastic mechs of all different shapes and sizes. There's rules, there's cards, there's tokens, there's cardboard terrain, like buildings and trees and stuff, and even a couple of dice. All of this is in one box for $80 retail. It seems like a good deal. Alpha Strike is kind of the stripped down version of classic BattleTech, and instead of playing on a hex grid map, which I frankly find not to my liking, you instead play on a regular ungridded map, usually with terrain and such. Instead of the kind of full page sheet for each mech with all the little circles to fill in as you take damage for different parts of your machine, you instead just have a single kind of Magic the Gathering sized card to track your heat and your damage and your crits and all that type of stuff. I like streamlined miniature games, so I do look forward to trying this one out soon. The mechs are pretty decent sculpts, and the quality of the plastic and the molds is pretty good. I mean, not Warhammer quality, but then on the other hand, they're already built, not on sprues and all that kind of stuff, and they're also far cheaper than Warhammer models, so that's also a big benefit. They also paint up really quickly. Mechs in general paint up really quickly, and I'm really looking forward to painting these guys as well. And remember, there are plenty of other mech games out there these days, so if you end up not liking the rules as much as other games, then you can still use these mechs for other mech rule sets. This Quar's War Clash of Rifles is a crazy little 2-player starter from Wargames Atlantic and Zombie Smith Games. It includes 24 hard plastic Quar models that come on sprues, right? So you put them together and you assemble them however you like. They've got different weapons and all that kind of stuff. So there's 12 of each of the 2 factions. And then there's also activation cards, there's dice, and even a small format, kind of 48-page rule book. There's also some kind of cutout terrain printed on the sides of the box that you can then, you could use that stuff as well. Maybe put it on some cardstock or some MDF or something like that. I've already started building the models. I want to start with 3 from each faction, so that I can test paint schemes going forward. But what the heck is a Quar, Uncle Adam? Well, they're a race of bipedal kind of anteater-looking folks, and they've pretty much always been at war with each other. Ever since the beginnings of Quar civilization, they've always been in some sort of conflict. At this point in history in this game, their weapons have kind of reached a bit of a World War I vibe to them, and they're really kind of fun to build. The rules are really fun as well, with a very unique card-based initiative system that takes a little bit of bluffing and stuff as well. It's really kind of interesting. If you want to learn more about the rules, the folks at the YouTube channel on Tabletop have a great battle report that explains them quite well. But ciao. So go take a look. Relic Blade is a great fantasy skirmish game from Metal King Studios and Sean Sutter. Sean does nearly everything on the project from what I understand. He designs the game, he illustrates the game, does the layout on the books and all that kind of stuff, sculpts the models. I think he even used to pour the metal for the models, which, it's tons and tons of work. And Relic Blade has a great kind of two-player starter set called Storms of Corel, which has a base price of $85. But at the $99 bundle, then you also get the hardcover Seeker's Handbook, which is basically the core rules. Then you plus also get the 8 models, the campaign book, the various cards, tokens, and whatnot that are in the box. The game is a lot of fun. I've gotten a few demos from my friend Malev in the past, and the models are pretty amazing as well. I'm not usually a fan of metal models very much, but these are like really delightful in the way that they're designed and put together. There are 11 different faction sets available currently and tons of other one-off models that you can add to your warbands as well. If you like fantasy games, well, this is honestly the only fantasy game on the list as it turns out, so you should really do yourself a favor and check out the website and pick up the two-player starter if you're interested. I grew up reading Judge Dredd in 2000 AD magazine whenever I could find it, and I also loved the 2012 Dredd movie with Karl Urban. The earlier movie with Sylvester Stallone, not so much. However, I was rewatching the 2012 movie last year when I remembered that Warlord Games, the folks that make Bolt Action and a lot of other games, also make a Judge Dredd game. I watched some battle reports from Guerrilla Miniature Games here on YouTube, looked at the Warlord website, and then I made my order of the I Am the Law two-player starter. The two-player starter box is $99 and includes 10 models, 8 gangers, and 2 judges. The rule set is a very kind of asymmetrical affair where the judges are much tougher than the gangers that they fight. That's why it's 8 versus 2. The models are maybe Ceocast or some other kind of resin or something like that, but pretty decent resin, not like resin in the old days, right? You also get tons of tokens, which are technically hard plastic on sprues. You get dice, you get a softcover rulebook, you get a playmat, and even 2D terrain as well. Everything you need to bring justice to Mega City 1 comes in that $99 box. They also make like tons of other add-ons and stuff like that in the Judge Dredd line in case you want to like add to your forces later. Lastly, the newest box I've gotten, and I haven't really had time to look at it much, though I did watch a battle report with the designer, James Hewitt, who worked on Necromunda, Blitz Bowl, and a bunch of other GW games. Anyway, this last box is Fallout Factions from Modiphius. I bought my copy from their booth at Gen Con, and it was $100. But if you look on their website, it's like 115 or something like that, I think due to the pounds to dollars conversions or something. That said, you can find it at stores and at other online retailers for $100 or less in most situations. It comes with 20 hard plastic models on sprues, 10 models from 2 separate factions, right? And an 80-page rulebook and a game mat, and even cardboard punch-out terrain and tokens and dice, and again, everything you need. This is not the same rule set as the earlier Fallout skirmish game, which was called Wasteland Warfare. This is a totally different game, and only the models are compatible from what I understand. Like you could take these models and they'd probably have stats for them for Wasteland Warfare and stuff like that. If you love the Fallout world from the video games and now the TV show on Amazon Prime, you might want to check this out. So there's 7 different two-player miniature wargame sets for under $100, or technically exactly $100 on that last one, I suppose, depending on where you buy it. I'll put the links to all of them in the description down below. We got mechs, we got sci-fi, we got post-apocalyptic, we've got fantasy. There's something there for everyone. That said, I certainly, like I said, did not hit them all. I've only got 7, so if there's a two-player starter for less than $100, or let's say even right at $100, that you like, mention it in the comments down below, and people can hopefully find something new that they want to play. If you liked this video, do me a solid and hit the like button. It really does help the channel and helps the videos get out to more people. If you want to see videos like this every single Friday, you can hit the sub button while you're down there as well. It says subscribe, and it's free. Thanks for watching.